How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Help for the Guildless. My name is Matt, and I don't necessarily know what type of video this is. This is not a vlog, this is not an archive video. Agent Spire isn't here. Antoine is usually hanging around over here, but I have no fucking clue where he went. Although he assures me that he's going to be here for this. So, what are we talking about? And why am I a little heated? Why am I talking a little fast? Why am I got my hands going everywhere? Why am I breaking from what I have been doing over the last few months to talk to you guys specifically and not on a live stream? Well, for those of you who don't know, I just came back from my honeymoon. And I spent about 10 glorious days being socially distant from social media. So I was on Twitter every once in a while. I was on Discord to say hi, but I pretty much stayed off my phone completely because I was having fun with my brand new wife. I come back, and the first thing that I see on Sunday is a brand new hashtag. A brand new rage tag on Twitter that has all of the alphabet people up in arms. It's hashtag I stand by Scott. Now, why are people going crazy about this? Why? I can tell you why. Oh, now you're here. Of course I'm here. You made me play that damn game. I'm gonna talk about this. Go ahead. So, this new hashtag, I stand by Scott, is because the alphabet people out there have decided that Scott Cawthon needs to be cancelled. Why? Because it came out that Scott Cawthon, a very Christian Texan conservative, donated money to the Trump presidency. Not Trump. Oh no. What is a conservative Republican going to do? Yes, of course. Listen, the man is pro-life because those are his beliefs. The man has donated to conservatives. It's not that hard to understand why. So it comes out that he's donated all of this money, up to about $40,000. $40,000 to conservative parties. And the LGBTQ plus community, which I might add, in a former vlog I've already said I don't consider myself a part of, partially because of garbage they do like this. Yes, of course, whatever. The alphabet community decided it was a good idea to dox Scott Cawthon and his family. Oh, on top of that, they're not just doxing him, they're sending death threats to his family and his 6-week-old wife, hoping that she dies and gets an abortion. Because this is exactly what the community needs. This is exactly what the LGBTQ community is trying to impart about being pro-choice. If you don't agree with us, we want your baby dead. Bit harsh, right? I mean, I understand you not agreeing with him and his beliefs. And yes, he did donate about $40,000 to $45,000 to conservative parties. That includes Trump and other conservative political parties. But you want to know something else? Do you want to know something that Scott Cawthon has done? Well, he has donated about $1.3 million to other community-led charities. He works with Steel Wool, which vocally supports the LGBTQ plus community. He works with Hexbrand, also vocally supports the LGBT plus Q community. He works with Karen Shinna, Indian American feminist entrepreneur. Claudia Aguirre, a Mexican lesbian artist. He works with a ton of this. And he also knows, hold on Matt, I've got this one. He also knows that a lot of the Five Nights at Freddy's fan community is actually LGBTQ plus. He's not dumb. And believe it or not, he's given a statement. And I have to give the man credit. I'm only going to read a little bit of this. I have to give the man a lot of credit. Scott Cawthon is a goddamn legend. Because he took this with poise, he took it with style, and he gave answers. There are some points that I want to get out there. From Scott's own words. Now, this was posted on Reddit. And I didn't know that the Reddit community for Fnaf was called the Freddit community, so forgive me. To say that the last few days have been surreal would be an understatement. I've debated greatly how to address this, including not addressing it at all. But with so many people from the LGBT community in the fan base that I love, it's not an option. I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I treat people. But there I was, trending on Twitter for being a homophobe, and getting doxxed, with people threatening to come to my house. My wife is 6 weeks pregnant, and she spent last night in fear because of what was being said online. She's already been struggling with her pregnancy, so seeing her so afraid really scared me. All this because I exercised my right and my duty as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run the country for everyone. And that's something I won't apologize for. And believe it or not, Scott, you should not. You did what you needed to do. And yes, he knows that the LGBT plus community is part of his Reddit community. That's a horrible title. Please change the name. He's being called a homophobe. He's being called a transphobe because the Christian, the very Christian, very religious, Texas-born conservative Republican supported the Republican president known as Donald J. Trump. This is where we are, folks. This is where it breaks down. They didn't have a problem with Scott Cawthon for 7 goddamn years. But the second they find out, which they should have been paying attention a long time ago, that he was a conservative and he donated money to the political party that he supported, he's suddenly a homophobe. Even though Scott Cawthon is one of the most generous game developers that has graced this planet and pretty much graced the gaming community. Scott Cawthon has something that he has doing right now. It's kind of a charity, and it's based under Scott Cawthon Games. Now, all of you know there are a ton of Five Nights at Freddy's fan games and things like that. One of the biggest ones is Joy of Creation. It's scarier than the original game, okay, because it's fully 3D animated. There are 4 or 5 levels. Each one is a different thing, and it's a different life, or a different part of the life cycle of a single person, and it's dealing with these fully formed, fully moving 3D animatronics. There's also Five Nights at Candy's, which was one of the original fan games. Now, why do I bring up these 2 games? Because Scott Cawthon has contacted the creators of these games and has basically said, listen, we're going to put you underneath my banner. We're going to get you some money for these games, and we're going to make sure that you can have merchandise, you can sell these games, and we're going to make sure that they are fully fledged, full functioning games. I'm doing this for you because I want you to succeed. You love my franchise so much that you did something like this. I want you guys to succeed. And he's done this with other creators. He's actively contacted them to get them the funding, to get them the assets to be able to make these games. What other company, what other dev, what other indie dev do you know does that? I can tell you, the answer is a big fat fucking 0. Now, we're talking about the donations, yes? Yeah, we're talking about the donations. Alright, here we go. This is a little bit more from Scott, and I want you all to pay quite a bit attention to this. For those who took the time to look, you saw that the candidates I supported included men, women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. I supported Kimberly Klacik in Baltimore because I believed that she really cared for the African American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. I believed she could have really made a difference in a time when so many black communities were struggling. She lost, unfortunately. I supported Tulsi Gabbard. Believe it or not, Matt and I did as well. We didn't agree with everything she had to say, but there was a lot of things that I liked. I supported Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, even though I disagreed with her on several issues, because I felt she would have been good and fair president. And yes, I supported President Trump because I felt that he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to the LGBT community directly and bigger promises to make, I believed that their stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to these communities than good. I want you to pay attention to that, folks. Even though he knows that the other candidates were pandering to the community, like, Kamala Harris, President Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, all of those who were trying to say, I'm going to give you everything you want if you just vote for me. He understood that that was just bluff and nonsense. All of this explanation, I fear, is wasted, and unfortunately he's right. Scott understands that this Reddit response from him is going to lead to nothing, because no one's going to pay attention. The people who are angry at him, the people who want his blood, the people who have threatened his wife and his unborn child are not going to give a flying fart what he says or how much he explains himself. They want him dead. They want his blood. They want him erased off the internet. He understands exactly what these people are doing. All of this explanation, I fear, is wasted, as people don't want to discuss with one another anymore. They want endless apologies and submission. People who are expecting those from me will get neither. That's good. I appreciate that, Scott. You have my support. I have enjoyed the Five Nights at Freddy's community. I have enjoyed the fan base. I've enjoyed the games. I've enjoyed the lore. I've enjoyed the videos. I even did my own review. It's still on this channel. I love the franchise. I enjoy the franchise enough. I enjoy how it works. I enjoy what it's doing. And I love the creator. And I support this creator. Why? Because he doesn't deserve this treatment. Nobody deserves this treatment. There are people talking about him being pro-life as if he's saying directly to everyone, your baby, whether you want to have it or not, needs to survive. And that's not what he's saying. Scott Cawthon believes that, and these are his own words, Scott Cawthon believes that if the baby is created through rape or incest, or the baby is going to kill the mother, or is going to come out inside out or damaged in some way, or is not going to have a chance to live, he is okay with abortion. He understands that. He does not believe that abortion should be used as a form of birth control. I am pro-choice. Believe it or not, I believe the same thing that Scott Cawthon does. So they're saying that because he supports and he has donated money, that he automatically wants all LGBTQ plus people dead. Well, that's bloody fucking stupid, isn't it? Just because you support something doesn't mean you agree with everything. And that's really hard for a lot of people to come to grips with, especially with something like politics. Now, I know one of the things that people keep talking about is the lesser of two evils. How Biden was the lesser of two evils between him and Trump. And now we're seeing Mumbly Joe can't really hold a coherent thought and keeps talking about how he's going to get in trouble if he answers more questions than he's allowed. That's a discussion for another time. You don't have to support them 100%. Because that's not how politics works. Politics is not black or white. There is a ton of gray area in between. If it were always you have to agree with every single thing the politician says, 100%, no one would vote for anybody. Because no one believes and agrees with 100% of what the politicians say. You can support Donald Trump and still believe that 25% of the shit he says is absolute garbage. You can support Joe Biden and believe that 50% of the things that he says is garbage. You can support Tulsi Gabbard and believe that 95% of what she says is bullshit. You don't have to agree with what they say 100%. It does not matter. That is not how politics works. Calm down. It's okay. If you don't agree with someone in politics, you don't agree with someone in the pro-life, pro-choice, if you don't agree with someone's religion, if you don't agree with someone's console choice, if you don't agree with someone's movie opinion, it is not by any means okay to send their family death threats, to send him death threats. It is not by any means okay. Ever. I don't care. It is not by any means okay to dox them. It just means that you're a piece of shit for doing it. I want to finish off with Scott Cawthon's statement. So before we do that, I want to point out that this is a man who understands his latest game, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, is a game that has been delayed. So, as an apology, what did he do? He created a Final Fight style beat-em-up called Fury's Rage as an apology to his fan base, knowing they were going to be upset. This is a man with principles. This is a man with morals, and this is a man who deserves to be treated with fucking respect. So, in Scott Cawthon's statement, he has some words for the people who are trying to cancel him on Twitter. I'm going to read them. I'm a Republican. I'm a Christian. I'm pro-life. I believe in God. I also believe in equality, and in science, and in common sense. Despite what some may say, all of those things can go together. That's not an apology or promise to change. It's the way it's always been. If I get cancelled, then I get cancelled. I don't do this for the money anymore. I do it because I enjoy it. If people think I'm doing more harm than good now, then maybe it's better that I get cancelled and retire. I would accept that. I've had a fulfilling career. Besides, most things that people can take from you are things that never had much value to begin with. I have always loved and will continue to love this community and its fan base, even if someday it doesn't include me anymore. This is a man who understands what's going on. Now, he's doing the right thing. And I want to point out that Scott Cawthon is not someone who deals a lot with social media. He has his website and Reddit, and that's pretty much it. The only reason he has a Facebook page, the only reason, I'm sure he has a MySpace, I don't know, I haven't looked. The only reason he has a Twitter is that no one else can take that name. Scott Cawthon on Twitter has enough followers to be verified, and he's not. He also has not posted a single fucking tweet. He doesn't follow anyone. I don't think he's ever actually opened the app, besides to set up the account to keep his name for himself. Scott Cawthon is a man with integrity. Scott Cawthon is the type of developer that you want to include in everything you do because of what he's done. Scott Cawthon came at a time when it was imperative to do what he did. He talks to the YouTubers that follow his games. Him and MatPat from Game Theory talk to each other regularly. He talks to Markiplier. He talks to Dawko. Because he wants to keep those relationships the way they are. because of how influential he is to them and they are to him. But he also knows that he can walk away at any time. Help Wanted was not done by Scott Cawthon by himself, and it was the first game in the Five Nights at Freddy's series. That was number 6 that he did not work on just by himself. Security Breach is the second game that he has done that he has not worked on just by himself. And if he's happy with how this game company deals with it, and they really want him canceled, all of Twitter wants his blood, and he really doesn't think that he can deal with it anymore, he can sell the franchise, sell the rights to it, and be perfectly fine. He's got 2 more books coming out that are finishing off the Fazbear Frights series. He's got a movie coming out next year, which, if it does as well as I think it's going to do, he'll have sequels. He can walk away from games and be just fine. These people that are trying to cancel someone like Scott Cawthon, they just want something to bitch about. Yeah, and that thing to bitch about is Trump. Think about this before you start going at someone. If the only reason you now cannot stand them has to do with someone else, maybe you're the problem. I kind of agree. This isn't about Scott Cawthon. This is about who he supports and the rabid hatred that is being fueled by mainstream media between political parties. Scott Cawthon has donated about $1.3 million to pro-LGBTQ plus communities and charities, and not even just that, but charities like the World Wildlife Foundation. And he's donated a fraction of that to the political party he's a part of. Fraction. Why do you care? The people who are, I can't believe I have to say this, anti hashtag I stand by Scott, why do you care what he does with his money? It's his. Do you think he cares that you donate to Antifa or you donate to Black Lives Matter? He doesn't. So if your problem with Scott has to do with what he does with his property, the problem's not with him. It's with you. Leave the man alone. Because I know for a fact that when Security Breach comes out, at least half of these people who are pissed off at Scott Cawthon are still going to buy the game. Because they don't actually support this. They just like the hashtag. Because Twitter and social media and all of that promotes hatred and vileness. Because it gets the most attention. Scott Cawthon's doing the right thing. He's made his statement, walking away. So yeah, hashtag I stand by Scott. Because he did nothing wrong. And this is the case that he actually did nothing wrong. So, you want to take us out? Yes, of course. I haven't done this in a while. So, those are my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to know yours. Let us know down in the comments. And if you like what we do here, please hit like, share this around, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, go ahead and hit that little bell icon so you know when the next archive uploads. But, with all that being said, this has been Help for the Guildless. My name, of course, is Antoine. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening.